Alright, Chevy Avalanche, they do not come with a trans cooler. So, you can go to the junkyard, get you one out of a Silverado. And I mean, this is by no means perfect, but you're going to want to keep the ends here and get you some 3/8 trans fluid line. To remove this is pretty easy. There's just some push-in clips. We will not be reusing this bracket. We already have one. We are going to reuse the hardware. Alright, so we just zipped it in. You will need to keep the two 10mm that go up here. And make sure they're not too long, because you don't want to hit your condenser. And now would be a good time to rinse off your condenser, get all these bugs and stuff out of here. Especially down in the radiator, there could be a lot of debris. If you're having coolant issues, that could be a possible reason why. We're going to come over here and we're going to rob our trans lines off the radiator where it connects, and we're just going to kind of bypass the radiator deal and just run them either up through here or down and right over here. I was thinking about tapping it right before. Hold on a second. Alright, right there. Alright, so it's the next day here. There's our old trans fluid. Some of the particular was in the pan. We got old fluid pumped out to that jug and added new fluid. And we got our truck over here. We got the new cooler on. Basically, for this deal, it's tapped into the radiator. I left the radiator cooling. I just tapped into the lower line here. I just tapped into it. Don't mind all the fluid everywhere. Had a little mishap. It ain't leaking any though. So I thought I don't know why I got my wires crossed for a minute, but I stuck the drain hose on the wrong one, and yeah, but we got like a good 1.5 to 2 inches of pipe stuck in the hose line there. Everything's good and tight, and you see how that lower is your feed, so that it's gonna feed out from the line coming down. It's like an L, and it's gonna feed up and down, over. It's gonna come across, go up, go back down, go back in. And yeah, just make sure all your connections are good and tight. Leave plenty of hose or steel line. Get it on there real good, and Like this goes to like right here. Same here. And yeah. And basically all you need to do to drain the fluid is unhook this one from the lower part and stick this whole dealio in a bucket, jug, whatever you feel like. Start it up, and as soon as it fills about up, shut it off and add your new fluid in and check your levels, make sure everything's good. You're good to go. But this is off like a Silverado or something. I just had this laying around. I wanted to put it on here. Only cost me about $20 in cooler line. Had a little bit left over. This is 3/8 of an inch trans cooler line. Just you want to keep an eye on it for a day or so after you put it in. Make sure it's 100%. Make sure all your connections are good and tight and you ain't got no leaks anywhere. And really just keep an eye on it for a while and zip tie it up out of the way. And yeah, you will be good. This is just a factory hole I chose to go through. There's more little cutouts here and there you could use, but I'm just trying to get as close as I could to the cooler line itself. I'm gonna pop the grill back on and call it done. And as far as drivability, it seems like it's driving a whole lot better since I got the new coolant in. And today was about 85 degrees, and it's 20 degrees lower than my highest temperature. So I'd say that was a win. It's staying like right around 150 or 140 after about 10 minutes of driving. Yeah, just use your 10 millimeters, your hardware. If you get this guy out of the junkyard, you want to get this whole bracket here and cut your lines long. You can always shorten them. That way you got plenty of material to bite onto. And just watch what you're doing and be careful. And it's not too bad of a job. Pretty simple. The fluid that was in here was really burned up, and I think it really benefited it a lot. It seems like it shifts better. There's a lot of clutch material in it, which, I mean, you know, it is what it is. I'd rather have fresh, clean fluid in it, and you know, it could, you could start seeing some transmission slip. It's up to you. I feel like it was worth it. The truck seems like it runs and drives better. Make sure you don't mar up your fittings here, because these are just little caps and little C-clips that pop in and out. But I would want to keep the line, and that way you got something to tap into. Alright guys, I think that's about it. Only other thing I've done to this transmission was I did a Corvette servo, and before the transmission was real slow shifting, and now it's instant. So I've about got this thing dialed. Ain't got any performance mods per se, no cold air intake or nothing cool like that. Still got the cats on it. I need to get the cats off and maybe get an intake and maybe do some exhaust work next, make it sound a little bit better. I do got an exhaust leak on this side manifold where I changed the motor. I gotta get that fixed at some point in time. Got all new brake lines on this truck I put on. All new brake calipers, rotors, pads, everything. So this truck's pretty well sorted. Gotta put the grill back on. Why did I do that? Why did I do that? Got the sunroof, leather. I just did the cluster here. I rebuild these clusters. And I put white LEDs in this one. Added a trans temp. Before, the trans temp would stay in between about 2 lines above the 150. It's about 170, and now it's running like right at 150. And I mean, this thing's up to temperature. I've been driving it. $16 miles, so kind of high mileage for this year, 2005. But we'll look over that. I got the steering wheel controls working. If your steering wheel controls don't work, that means usually somebody's changed out the cluster, because these are programmed in the cluster to the vehicle. So if you got a truck with steering wheel controls and your steering wheel controls isn't working, more than likely somebody has swapped it out. And if you got an 03 and you go to add a trans gauge and it doesn't work, it's probably been changed out as well. But yeah. Oh yeah, I rebuilt the cluster. I redid the AC unit here. Before, none of the lights lit up, and now they all, as you can see, they all light up. They're all LED. If you want me to do that, that's like, I don't know, I think it's like $50 to do that. These are pretty complex little units, but yeah, really, it's really bright at night. You can barely tell. Right now we're in the middle of the day, but it's super bright at night. Same with the cluster. But yeah, I am super happy with how it's running and how the temperature worked out, all that stuff. All right, guys, thanks for watching.